Welcome to Lesson 9, Adverbs. Adverbs are modifiers. So when we take a look at adverbs, they are going to act as one of three things: verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. That's what they're going to be modifying. So let's look at when an adjective is modifying a verb. So words that modify verbs are called adverbs. So if we look at our example sentences, Mary can run fast. Well, adverbs answer the following questions: when, where, why, how, and to what extent. And in this case, they're going to be answering one of these questions about the verb. So for this one, Mary can run fast. Well, how does Mary run? She runs fast. So fast is answering a question about our verb run. The young writer held the reins tightly. How did the writer hold the reins? Tightly. So tightly is answering a question about our verb. Our teacher never relaxes. When does the teacher relax? The teacher relaxes never. So again, it's answering a question about our verb. Something to know about adverbs is they usually end in ly. This is not always the case because we have words like to, very, and not, which are irregular and they do not end in ly, but they will always act as adverbs. They'll be modifying something about the verb, something about another adjective or another adverb. So when we diagram this, they go right under the word it modifies, just like an adjective would. So in this case, when they're modifying the verb, they're just going to go on a diagonal line underneath the word they modify, underneath the verb. So if we take a look at the next thing that adverbs modify, adverbs can also modify adjectives. Whenever an adverb is modifying an adjective, it's going to be answering the question how. So if we take a look at this sentence right here, the athletes were very tired. Well, tired is a predicate adjective because it's telling us something about our subject, athletes, and it comes after a linking verb. Well, how tired were the athletes? The athletes were very tired. So very is modifying something about the adjective tired. So it's still acting as an adverb, but it's modifying an adjective. So when we diagram it, it goes right underneath because it modifies it on a diagonal line. Now, sometimes if we look at this next example, our class has not read a more exciting book. Here is this diagram right here. So which book was it? It was an exciting book. So exciting is an adjective modifying the noun book. But then we have this adverb more, which modifies the adjective exciting. So whenever it comes after like this, you're going to draw almost like a backwards L coming off of it and put the adverb on that line. What I always like to do to double check this is read it backwards to see if it makes sense. More exciting book. Does that make sense? Yes, absolutely. So I've diagrammed it the right way. I can't say it's a more book. More is not describing book. More is modifying or describing exciting. And then the last thing that adverbs can also modify other adverbs too. It would be the same concept. Wherever it's modifying, it's going to go underneath. So if we take a look at this one, the visitor spoke too softly. Well, softly is an adverb because it's modifying our verb spoke. How did the visitors speak? The visitors spoke softly. How softly? Too softly. So then when I read it backly, too softly spoke, it makes sense because they can't speak too. Too is definitely modifying softly. So that's always a good way that you want to check to make sure that you diagrammed it correctly. So let's look at our first example together. A rather tall man was running very fast. So in this case, we have the subject man, and what was the man doing? He was running. Well, how was the man running? Was the man running very? No, the man was running fast. How fast? Very fast. So we have two adverbs. So one adverb is modifying the other. And then tall is describing the noun man. So whenever a word modifies a noun, it's an adjective. How tall? Rather tall. So rather is an adverb modifying this adjective. So when we diagram this, we have our subject man. We have our verb phrase was running. How was the man running? The man was running fast. So fast is modifying our verb, so it goes underneath it on a diagonal. How fast? Very fast. So I'm going to go ahead and cross off my words that I've diagrammed. And now I'm just left with a, rather, and tall. Well, the man is tall. How tall? Rather tall. And then I have my article a. So it looks like this. And again, I can say rather tall man, that makes sense. And I'm not going to have rather coming off man because it's not a rather man. It's a tall man. How tall? Rather tall. All right, let's look at number 2. Did you not find an extremely old coin? Well, I should already see a word ending in ly. So that should automatically go off as kind of a clue as to, okay, this is probably going to be an adverb. So remember, this is a question, and questions start with verbs. So did what? Did is a helping verb. It needs something else. Did find. So find is my action verb. Who or what is doing the finding? That would be you. So you did find what? What's the answer to that question? Coin. So coin is my direct object. And then old is modifying the noun coin. So because it's modifying a noun, it's an adjective. How old was the coin? It was extremely old, and it ends in ly. So that's an adverb. A, and the are always articles, and then not is one of our irregular adverbs. It's going to be modifying the verb. So just remember, not is not a verb. It's going to be an adverb. So when we diagram this, we have you as the subject, did find as my verb phrase. And remember, when you have an action verb and there's a direct objects get straight lines. So then I have coin. Which coin was it? It was the old coin. How old was the coin? It was extremely old. Because the coin isn't extremely. Extremely is not modifying coin, it's modifying old. Extremely old coin. Does that make sense? Yes, it does. So let me cross off my words that I've diagrammed. So I need an coin. And then just this adverb not. Not, when it is in our sentence, is going to go underneath our verb phrase. It's always going to be an adverb that's modifying the verb. All right, let's do one more. The refugee could finally see his terribly sick brother. I already see 2 words that end in ly, so they're probably going to be adverbs. The refugee could finally see his terribly sick brother. So who or what is the sentence about, and is probably going to come towards the beginning of the sentence? That's the refugee. What action is the refugee doing? Well, the refugee could see. Refugee could see what, or refugee could see whom? The answer to that is brother. So a, and the are always articles. Finally is ends in ly, so it's probably going to be an adverb. So when could the refugee see? He could see finally. So yes, that is an adverb. Sick is modifying the noun brother. It's telling me which brother it is. It's the sick brother. So when we have a word modifying a noun, it's an adjective. Well, how sick was the brother? The brother was terribly sick. So that is an adverb. And which brother is it? It's his brother. So his is an adjective because it's modifying a noun. So when I diagram this, I have refugee as my subject. Could see is my verb phrase. Brother is my direct object. So I'm going to go ahead and cross off my words. Could see brother. Which refugee? It's the refugee. When could he see? He could see finally. So finally is modifying my verb. So it's an adverb. And then which brother was it? It was his brother, and it was the sick brother. How sick was the brother? The brother was terribly sick. And I can read it backwards to see if it still makes sense. Terribly sick brother. Yep, because the brother isn't terribly, the brother is sick. And how sick? Terribly sick.